I'm Magnus from the band Psychedelic. Today at Psychedelic TV, we're going to continue our series about MIDI for guitars. In this video, we're going to have a look at MIDI numbers and how to use these numbers to turn things on and off. So let's dive into it. For this video, I'm using my Digitech GSP 1101 and the TC Electronics G Major 2. I have a TC Electronics Nova Drive and an Electro Harmonix 8-step pedal as well. I control everything via MIDI with a Rocktron MIDI Radar, and I also have a Misten Expression pedal going into the MIDI Radar. As you can see on my pedal board, I have labeled the top 5 switches. I use these switches to turn things on and off. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to turn a delay on and off in my G Major 2. The easiest way to probably do this is to check on your MIDI gear first to see if you already have some MIDI numbers signed up for what you want to do with it. When I go into the G Major 2 by pressing the mode button and then scroll to where it says delay, I can see that the delay is set to number 4. I can change this value if I want to in some MIDI gear, but some MIDI gear have fixed values like the TC Nova Drive that starts on 21 and goes up to 31. So if you have MIDI gear that has fixed values, then you will have to use those values to control. To give you an example, the value number 7 is often used to control the volume. I want to be able to control the delay with a button named FXGM. So after I figure out the MIDI number for what I want to control, I go into the edit mode in my pedal board. I press second on the board and then I press MIDI. I scroll one step to the right, then I scroll with the down button to where it says FXGM. This is what I've called that button. I put it on value number 4, but you have to notice that it has to say G May for the right MIDI channel. I press second to get out of the edit mode. I can now turn the delay on and off by pressing the pedal. If you always want this pedal to be on in your preset, then you will have to store the preset with the pedal in an on mode. So to do that, you press all the pedals that you want to be engaged, then press the second on the board, then you press the store button in the top right corner. Now the preset is stored with the buttons you wanted to be engaged. I've noticed my two effect tracks behave a little bit different. If I store a preset in the pedal board with the delay being in an on mode, then the G Major 2 is always going to turn the delay on in the rack, even if that preset in the G Major wasn't stored with the delay being engaged. But in the GSP 1101, the delay will not be engaged if the preset in that rack wasn't stored with the delay being engaged. So then I will have to step on the button on the pedal board twice to turn it off and then turn it on. So the easiest way to do it is to always store your rack preset in the settings you're using it from the pedal board. In the first video, I show you how to name the different MIDI channels. This is how you name the different MIDI buttons. You press second on the board, you press setup, you scroll to the same place as you did with the MIDI channels. You scroll down to get to the MIDI channels. Here you can see that I named the buttons to what they control. You can see that I have also named the Mission pedal that I'm using. But more about Expression pedal in another episode. Another cool feature that is built into the MIDI Radar is that you can choose if the MIDI button is always going to control the same things in your MIDI gear in all your presets, or if you want to be able to control different things in every preset. If I press second on the board and then press setup, I scroll to where it says volume per preset. I scroll down to where it says FXGM. Here I can set that the button FXGM is going to be programmed by preset, or I can set it to be global. So if you have a boost function that you always want to be at the same button, then just leave it in the global mode. You can do this with all the MIDI buttons. As I said before, I keep my top row of buttons for controlling MIDI numbers. But with the MIDI Radar, you can choose how many rows you want to have as control buttons. If I press the second on the board and choose setup, I scroll to where it says bank by. Here I can choose how many rows that I am able to record presets from. As you can see, I have it set to 10 and that means that I can recall 10 presets in my rack gear before I have to change with the up and down button. If I set this to 5, then only the lowest row will control MIDI presets. I press second to get out of the edit. Now I can use the 2 top rows for controlling MIDI numbers. As you can see here, I can turn different things on and off. I can even change the pedal board to send up to 15 MIDI buttons. Then you will have to go between the different presets by pressing the up and down button. Well, that is everything for today. I hope this has given you some insights about how to use MIDI numbers. Feel free to write any questions or comments down below. If you like this video, please subscribe to Psychedelic TV to be updated on our upcoming videos. You can also visit Psychedelic's webpage at psychedelic.com or visit Psychedelic's Facebook page to get more info about the band and listen to some great music. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope to see you again. And remember folks, use it for good, not for evil.